Let's begin with Dustin Poirier. He recently revealed something that surprised many fans. Just weeks before his final UFC fight, Dustin said he never really wanted to fight Max Holloway. Instead, he had hoped for a trilogy fight with Justin Gaethje. In a video shared by Full Violence, Dustin explained, "I chose Gaethje. UFC wanted Max. I don't know why. Maybe because of the BMF belt. They seemed excited about it." Dustin reflected on how Max Holloway was his first opponent in the UFC, and now he will be his last. "He's someone I respect a lot," Dustin added. "This fight means a lot. I said legends only, and Max is definitely that." Wanting to make this last fight memorable, Dustin's pulling out all the stops. He even revealed that Lil Wayne will walk him to the octagon on July 19th. "His guy told me he's in. We're still a little ways out, so we'll see, but as of right now, yes sir," Dustin said. Before UFC heads to Louisiana for this grand farewell, the focus is all on International Fight Week, where Charles Oliveira will fight Ilia Topuria. Dustin shared his prediction for that fight too. Ilia's going to be way undersized unless Charles can submit him. If Charles hurts him, maybe, but it'll be tough. Charles gets hit a lot, and Ilia puts people away, he said. "I'm excited about it." With UFC 317 and UFC 318 around the corner, fans are eager to see what unfolds. Now let's talk about Joaquin Buckley, who is once again going after Israel Adesanya. Their feud just keeps heating up. In a recent video on Buckley's YouTube channel, he didn't hold back.
What it is to take a L, but to say that you hate them, glad that they lost, you glad that they, you know what I'm saying, didn't achieve their dreams is wild to me, bro. Like, bro, why the you mad at me? What the I do to you? Cause I find it funny how you hating on me. You need to be hating on that took your belt. He's trying to be funny, like he's trying to use his platform to talk on me. But that really just shows me the potential of my name and how big I'm becoming. Just like when I met his at the PI and I ran up on him and was like, "Hey, bro, you know I think we'd be a good fight." That was quiet at the time. But see, I'm man enough to come to you to your face. Tell me how you feel to my face though, bro. Instead of being like a you all underneath the covers and man. I hate that sweet motherfucker. Cause I don't know why you on my anyway. You ain't no real fighter. Little, you know, you wanna be a little pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? I will give you a sample, but I don't like boy. And that's 100. You can get this work any given time, bro. I can give it to you.
What do you think about the ongoing drama between Buckley and Adesanya? Next, Renato Moicano has something to say about UFC Fight Night timing. For fans in Europe and Asia, watching UFC often means staying up all night, and Moicano says it's time for that to change. On his podcast, Show Me the Money, he demanded that UFC consider starting Fight Night cards in the afternoon US time, so international fans can watch at a decent hour too.
So my whole point is, why like they don't start like 2 or 4 p.m. on Saturday, and then when it's 10, when it's 11, it's done, and then you can go out, you know, you
I
can
agree.
Like,
No, I
have
agree.
a dinner, or you can go to a party or whatever.
Yeah.
Because makes no sense like 2 a.m. I'm tired and waiting for the main event, and then I'm done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we're also on the East Coast, so some people are 3 hours behind us in the U.S., but I'm with you 100%. I think these cards should end by 11 p.m.
Yes.
In boxing, sometimes even worse, bro. That last boxing fight sometimes is like 1:30 in the morning.
Yes.
You know, like
yeah, it makes you.
While it's unlikely UFC changes its schedule anytime soon, maybe a new broadcasting deal could finally make it happen. Meanwhile, former light heavyweight champ Jiri Prochazka broke his silence on why he turned down a title fight against Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 317. His reason: he's focused on school. "I've been studying for 3 years. Right now, school is the most important thing." Jiri told Full Violence, "That's why I turned the fight down." He didn't like how Ankalaev responded either. "He's a big mouth guy. That's not how a champ should speak," Jiri said. Still, Prochazka knows he might have to take another fight before getting Ankalaev. "If Alex Pereira fights Ankalaev, I'll fight someone else, but my goal is Ankalaev," he added. Jiri's hoping to return to the octagon after August. Now, on to another explosive matchup, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. As they head into the UFC Baku main event, the tension is thick. In a media interview, Hill went off on Rountree for saying he'd win the fight without even shedding a drop of blood.
He's not really ready for war. He don't really understand what's in front of him, so he can expect that. So whenever I open his face up and he starts to see it, then we're gonna see what he does and how he reacts then. This guy gets hit more than he hits anybody. that's literally a stat of his whole career. Like, that's a wild statement. That's wild. But, you know, he said a lot of delusional things. He's hanging his hat on the fact of, oh, I lasted longer than he did against Poirier. We have other common opponents. One that I knocked out, one that knocked him out. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like...
A reporter also asked Hill whether his past knockout losses to Alex Pereira would affect him. He wasn't having it.
Will my loss to Alex and Jiri affect this fight? How would it do that? Every fight is different. It's a new fight, so that's a weird question. That's like kind of like just like a dorky like online fan question. So like I don't really get how that would affect how I'm fighting a completely different fighter. You know what I mean? So I'm focused on what's happening on Saturday and on the task.
Khalil Rountree, on the other hand, opened up about his loss to Pereira in a chat with Michael Bisping, and Paul felt that defeat, he said, made him stronger.
Thoughts, really, like my honest thoughts on the light heavyweight division right now are, I'm just preparing to become the champion, however that looks. So I plan to win against Jamahal, and I want to fight for a title again. I really think that I'm ready to become the champion. I'm ready for it. You know, like that fight against Alex was the thing that kind of helped me answer that question for myself. And now that I've been through that and been through that type of war, I know that I can do even more. I know I can do better. And so I'm ready for it again. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to look, but I'm going to continue to do the same amount of work until my time comes again. And that's really all I care about is.
Meanwhile, Cory Sandhagen reacted to Sean O'Malley's recent loss to Merab Umar at UFC 316. The loss has set up a potential bout between Sandhagen and Merab. On the Ariel Helwani show, Cory said, "I thought O'Malley would do better. He seemed off. I feel for him. He made big changes in his life and believed all the signs the universe was giving him. I've been there, thinking everything's lined up and it still goes wrong." Cory even changed his honeymoon plans to attend UFC 316 in New Jersey. "My wife wasn't thrilled. We had booked everything, and then I said, hey, we have to change this. Well, no date is set yet for Sandhagen versus Merab. Cory is already planning his approach. I'm going to masterclass Merab. I have to out-MMA him everywhere, not be scared to wrestle or to get tired. That's how you fight a wrestler. If you're scared of being tired, you're going to lose," he explained. Umar didn't do that. I think O'Malley was a little afraid to get tired. Hopefully, once the champion is back from vacation, we'll get news on when that fight is happening. Let's talk UFC fight updates. Ahead of the UFC Baku event, a few matchups may have slipped under the radar. A heavyweight showdown between Sergey Pavlovich and Waldo Cortez Acosta is set for UFC Shanghai on August 23. Pavlovich is coming off a win over Zaizino Rosenstruik back in February. WCA is riding a 5-fight win streak and just beat Sergey Spivak at UFC 316. Then there's UFC Vegas 109 on August 9. 2 new bouts have been added: Elijah Smith versus Toshimi Kazama and Miles Johns versus Gene Matsumoto. Smith's looking to build on his UFC debut win, while Kazama comes off a second-round submission from last summer. Johns hopes to rebound from a loss to Felipe Lima. And Matsumoto wants redemption after a split decision loss to Rob Font. Kamaru Usman also made headlines this week. After winning against Joaquin Buckley, Usman is once again thinking about moving up to middleweight. In a chat with TMZ Sports, he said he's still open to fighting Dricus du Plessis in Africa. "When I had the welterweight belt, UFC wanted me to move up and take the middleweight title," Usman said. "I'll give up the welter belt if I have to. Africa vs. Africa. First card in Africa, South Africa vs. Nigeria. It's a long-time rivalry." But before any of that can happen, du Plessis needs to beat Khamzat Chimaev in August, and Usman still has to prove himself. He only has 1 win in the last 4 years. "It hurt when people said I hadn't won since 2021, Usman admitted. "It made me think. I didn't feel like I was losing fights, but the truth is, I had 3 losses in a row. Winning again, it felt amazing." Now that he's back in the win column, everyone's wondering, who's next for Usman? Finally, something unexpected happened at UFC Baku. Merab and Umar Nurmagomedov bumped into each other at the hotel. Merab was taking pictures with Rafael Fiziev and heading back to his car, while Umar was outside posing with fans. Fans started chanting Merab's name, and here's the moment it all happened. Now let's talk about the news that left many UFC fans heartbroken. Jon Jones has shut down the idea of fighting Tom Aspinall. Recently, Dana White did an interview with Joe Rogan where he hinted that if a deal between Jon Jones and Aspinall couldn't be finalized, they'd move on fast. And we'll have answers in the next couple of weeks, Dana said. But then Jon Jones was interviewed by Kyle from the Nelk Boys, and what he said pretty much killed all hope. Jon made it clear he's just not interested in fighting Tom Aspinall. He said Aspinall simply doesn't excite him.
You make of like Tom Aspinall and all the things that he's been saying about you?
I think he's awesome, man. I think he should go on and have a wonderful career. He's not in the position to like excite me, because if I whoop his it's gonna be the next guy. There's gonna be a whole new fan base of somebody who everybody believes in. I've done this my whole adult life. I remember Rampage fans years ago, Rashad fans and Lyoto fans. I literally have replayed this story so many times.
And it didn't stop there. Later in the same interview, Jon Jones went even further. He revealed that he's not really interested in fighting anyone at all at the moment. That's a huge disappointment. First, fans were let down when the Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight didn't happen, and now the dream matchup between Jones and Aspinall is also off the table. It's frustrating. Fans were pumped about this heavyweight showdown, Aspinall's explosive style versus Jones's legendary fight IQ. It was the fight that could have set the division on fire, but now all that hype has vanished. So now the big question is, what happens next? Will the UFC pivot and give Aspinall a different opponent? Will Jones ever return to defend his belt? Right now, it's just uncertainty. And in a sport where fans live for big moments, this kind of silence stings. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Jon should have taken the fight? Is Aspinall the future of the heavyweight division? Only time will tell.